Don't wanna let you know you're so hypnotic, magical. Magical.
325 days ago on a cold Sunday afternoon, the Jumbo's women's soccer team staggered off Bello Field following a 1-0 loss to Williams, where they had dominated their opponent but had nothing to show for it. With only 7 wins, their future seemed uncertain following a first-round SCAC tournament loss to the eventual champion Amherst. But then, as so often happens with a Tufts team, they were given an inch in the form of an NCAA tournament berth and took it 693 miles all the way to the Final Four in Salem, Virginia, on the back of 2 shutouts from Gigi Edwards and an absurd 7 goals from Elsie Aries, only being stopped by the eventual national champs Cal Lutheran. Now ranked 4th in the country going into the season, the Jumbos begin the long journey back to the Final Four, this time in Las Vegas. For the 3rd season running, the Bows begin their season against the Emerson Lions. And it starts right here, right now on JumboCast. Welcome into Bello Field. I'm Riley, and I'm joined by the sensational sophomore, Jake Flossie. Jake, with a new look starting lineup here for the Jumbos tonight, who do you have your eye on, and who should the fans at home be looking out for?
Well, first I want to say that this Jumbo squad, 2 key parts of the team that went to that Final Four, Olivia Patz and Talia Greenberg, both are not back this year. They were both made all NESCAC teams, along with Patz making the 3rd team all-region. Patz had by far the most minutes on the team, and they were both captains, so that leadership is going to need to come from somewhere else. So in this starting lineup, we're looking for some players who can come in with some leadership. We're seeing a younger lineup than we were expecting. We're seeing Birch, Kelly, Sumner, Kushner, Summers, Holzberline, Segru, O'Neill, and Edwards as that starting lineup. And some players I'm watching, of course, Elsie Aries is the first name we have to mention. 7 goals in that NCAA tournament and 15 goals total. Made 3rd team All-America as a sophomore, one of only 3 sophomores to make that list. Just an incredible season. And in that NCAA run, she had 3 game winning goals and 1 goal that set them to extra time. So really crucial player for them in that stretch. She'll be looking to get back off the start well this season as well. Nicholas Summers is another player. She's coming back for her 5th year, taking that COVID year. She was very strong last season. She has scored against Emerson in both of the last times they played them in the season opener. So the Lions will not be looking forward to that.
And so we've heard about the Jumbos offense, but you obviously mentioned Olivia Patz graduating, going to UT Austin. Who's going to replace her on the defensive end today? Who are you looking forward to step up, be that minesweeper back there defensively?
So I'm personally looking at Caroline O'Neill. She was a key member of the Jumbo's defense last season, playing both in the center and out on the fullback. And she is now alongside Jordan Kushner the most senior member of this Jumbo defense. And we'll be looking for leadership from both of them as they go on to this season. And the Jumbo's defense has been a little shaky, so they'll really need to have that leadership come in and make the defense as strong as possible.
Yeah, it was shaky at times last year. Definitely got significantly stronger with the insertion into the starting lineup of tonight's goalie in Gigi Edwards. Really a transformation for the team when they switched from Kiana Hill to Edwards. But let's take a look at the other perspective, and let's talk about the Emerson Lions, because unlike the Jumbos, they actually have played 2 games already this season.
Yes, they have. They defeated Gettysburg College 1-0 down in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and then fell to Misericordia University, who is receiving votes in the NCAA polls, 2-0 a couple days ago. They had a pretty solid season last year, finishing 10-7-2. They started off 1-4-1 in their first 6 games, but really picked it up after that, going 8-1-1 in their next 10. They finished 8-2-2 in their conference, getting the 3rd seed, made the semifinals, falling to 2 seed Babson. But overall, a pretty solid year for the Lions. But this is the year I'm really expecting them to turn up as much as they can. They have 10 seniors in their team, and 9 of their starting players are either seniors or grad students. The other 2 are juniors, so really big year for them.
So what you're saying is we got 2 teams, one which got 9 seniors, one which is ranked number 4 in the country, both coming in for a huge non-conference game. We're going to step aside for the national anthem. When we come back, we'll give you starting lineups and kickoff live from Bello. We are back here at Bello, and just a gorgeous afternoon to play some soccer, as the starting lineup's going to get announced here momentarily. And I think, Jake, it's the perfect chance for us to really get into this Tufts starting lineup. And I think that means we start with the names that we were surprised and excited to see in the starting lineup. And I think that has to go to the 3 sophomores we didn't expect to see necessarily in Reese Burge, Kate Holster-Beline, and Emily Nicholas.
Definitely, and I believe it is Sumner, not Nicholas, as the other starter.
Yes.
But Sumner is a name who we were not unused to seeing on the field last year. She put up several good performances, really coming on off the bench as a powerful weapon and establishing herself as a key member of this Jumbo squad as the season went on. So, while I was probably expecting to see Erin Duncan on that wing, seeing her there is not that big of a shock to me.
No, I don't think it is, and I think it was very telling in that run in the NCAA tournament. Waverly Sumner was very often the first name off the bench for Martha Whiting when she needed some attack. Had a huge goal in that game against Bowdoin, which ended up being decisive in getting them on to the Sweet 16 before Gigi Edwards with another huge shutout in that Sweet 16, or getting them all the way to the Final Four. But I mean, this is a team that you don't really wonder, do they have the offense? You more wonder, like you're playing bingo, who's going to score today? Because every time you walk onto the field here at Bello, it's kind of like you're just throwing a dart at the dartboard and seeing which name comes up on the score sheet.
They're facing a team here, though, that has a pretty solid defense. The Emerson Lions had the third best defense in the NUMAC last year, and they have returned every single member of that defense, including keeper Amara Schaub, who was first-team All-Region and first-team All-NUMAC. Quite the goalkeeper there, and she will make it a lot harder for the Jumbos to score. They'll need to put some great shots on her in order to get them by.
Yeah, I think that is definitely something, and I think that's something we saw from the Jumbos, where when they would struggle at times, it would be shot selection that would be an issue. Sometimes they were willing to settle for the shot from 20 yards instead of looking to make the extra pass or two, looking to get a more gilt-edge opportunity.
Yes, and they're going to struggle to get past some of these Emerson defenders. They have quite the defense between Yoshiko Slater and Anna Swisher, who are both very strong last year. Slater being alongside Schaub, first-team All-Region and first-team All-NUMAC, putting in, and she has started every single game of her college career for Emerson. And this is her final year. She'll be looking to do very strong for them. Swisher as well has started almost every game of her career since freshman year, so a lot of experience in that back line for the Lions.
Yeah, I think that is, without a question, a very, very pivotal part. And I think one thing we need to focus on when we're looking at this Jumbo starting lineup is just the amount of ridiculous, for lack of a better word, speed we have in this starting lineup. You look at that midfield, especially with the trio of Birch, Nicholas, and Kelly, and just, I can't remember a Jumbo's team, either men's or women's, with as much speed in that midfield.
Yeah, it's looking very strong there. It looks like Nicholas is going to settle into that more defensive mid position with Birch and Kelly shifting up as Nicholas gets the ball right away.
Yeah, that was something we were debating in the pregame. Who would slot into that 6 role? It looks as if Nicholas will. Kelly steps on the ball there. Sumner going to keep it in nicely. Holsterbro line. And she'll send it back to O'Neill. She'll play in the center with Segru. Kushner will play as the wide back on the right side as Nicholas swings it wide to her. Kushner cuts inside. Kushner now the starter with the most games started in her career.
And we see right away the Lions putting on a bit of pressure on this Jumbo's defense, making it harder for them to build out. And right off of that, Slater gets the ball quite early.
Yeah, just a little bit of a lazy touch there from Kelly. Great interception there from Nicholas ahead. Here to Sumner. Jumbos have numbers ahead. Sumner on her right. Around one. Has a look and a shot, but right at the goalie. And well too easy in the end. But a minute in, and we're already talking about the speed and footwork of Waverly Sumner.
Yeah, and in that case, I think King overcommitted a little bit, stepping in, allowing Sumner to get into the inside. But unfortunately, a shot like that is not going to be able to beat Schaub. But promising moments there for the Jumbos as Sumner gets on it again.
Here she is again. Can she get to that ball? The answer is not quite. Another dangerous ball, and it's going to go out for another Jumbo's throw as the Lions, only 90 seconds in, already pinned back in their third.
That's the type of soccer I love to see, Riley, when they're putting high pressure on, when they don't let – both teams have really come out not allowing either side to get settled in, to play out of the back, making it very challenging. And Tufts already getting a lot of benefit from that.
Burst was a nice interception there, but couldn't quite get it to Elsie Aries as this one whipped wide here to West Rodriguez. Little half turn there by Besnick. Going to try and play it down the line. Little bit of a gap there, but over hit, and it'll roll out of play for a Jumbo's throw. I
like that idea, though, from the Lions there. I love the 1-2s on the sideline. Can be a great way to get past a fullback. And Rodriguez does have some pace on this right side, so they'll be looking for that more.
And there was space there. Holsterbro line had kind of stepped up. O'Neill, a little bit miscommunication, wasn't quite over. That's something the Jumbos need to keep an eye on because you don't want to give a team like Emerson opportunities in the counter.
Certainly not, especially if they're playing a high-pressure system where they're going to be really stepping up more. If the Lions can get chances in the counter, it can be devastating.
Will be another Lions throw there on the far side.
The Lions have only gotten 1 goal this season, that 1 goal against Gettysburg, coming from Slater, who seems to have settled in. We have
Under hit ball there, and a nice intervention there from the sophomore. Not able to win the ball, but able to prevent the turn there from West Rodriguez. Kelly almost got it cleanly. Second ball comes through. Interception by Nicholas. Ball bouncing around and eventually picked up there by Marissa Kren. Into feet. Return from Carlson, and now Aries going to bring the press as it's forced all the way back to Schwab.
Some excellent defense there, particularly from Holzberg line, to really force West Rodriguez back, not allow her to capitalize off of that misplay at the back.
Aries with a nice press, force the overhit ball. O'Neal touches it nicely into space for Nicholas, who will open up to her center back, Lena Segru.
Already we're seeing, although there was a passing issue earlier, some good calmness from this Jumbo's defense. Even though they're lacking Pats, they still seem to have this confidence about them, particularly O'Neal on the ball right now.
Yeah, that's something Martha Whiting's defense always has, is that ability to pass out of the back. They're never really panicked, regardless of how intense a team might be pressing them, as Emerson is. That one forced out off Nicholas. And there it is, right? Nicholas decides to take the extra touch. Ball gets taken off her. That's where you want to get that one-touch passing, that triangle passing we've been seeing already.
It's interesting to watch Emerson's press as well. They're running a 3-person press where they have Bezdek. I'll finish
Aries
this later.
Gonna send it. Sumner trying to get on the end of it, and she can. 1v1, and that's going to go out of play. Looks like it's going to be a deep throw, but another great ball there, and that's what Elsie Aries can do. You might think her not being the biggest 9, she's going to be someone who's looking to get in behind. No, she's actually going to hold up the play, look to play as a distributor, get the ball at her feet, as here is Kelly trying to turn.
Another player who's not the tallest, but also holding up very effectively.
In between, towards the near post. That one skied up and out. Second ball headed. Holzberg line trying to get it, and eventually that one sent down. And here is West Rodriguez with a loose touch. Holzberg line gets in front of her, forces the ball inside. Aries tracking all the way back, forces the loose touch. Segru knocks it forward. And after a pinball in the midfield, Kelly's going to get it, picks her head up. Beautiful ship, Sumner onside. Jumbos have numbers. Sumner picks her head up. That's going to go out, and that'll be the first corner of the year for the Bows.
And we're seeing the Jumbos get a really effective attack down this left side. We've seen Larking and King get sort of exposed a few times by some excellent through balls, finding Sumner, who does have that pace on the left side. We haven't seen much of Summers yet, but I expect that she'll involve the game shortly as the Lions start to drift over, noticing that Sumner's getting a lot of pressure, opening the space for the grad student on the right wing.
Wouldn't be surprised if she gets involved right now on this corner. That one whipped in towards the back post. Segru couldn't. Here is Summers. Shot across, off the crossbar, bouncing around. Touched wide by Nicholas. Segru back, and eventually caught by Schwab as the Jumbos inches away from making it 1-0. That one stood up. O'Neal's going to have to track it over her shoulder. She'll turn out of pressure. Holzberg line tried to chop it, couldn't quite line it up. That'll go out for a throw.
And Holzberg line really didn't have many options there. Nicholas wasn't quite there quite yet, so Holzberg line trying to get a little creative. Didn't quite work there, though.
Miscommunication allows Bezdek to turn. Through ball in a good spot. Problem for her was no one made a run. And Edwards just going to distribute here to Lena Segru. Birch with time and space. Redistributes to Kushner. And Nicholas pops that one up. Birch able to keep it in nicely. Flicked ahead, or they're going to say that went out of play. Some nice footwork from Reese Birch, but couldn't quite keep it in.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing the Lions press already starting to ease back a little bit. We're 8 minutes in this game. They're already possibly getting a little fatigued or just shifting it back a little.
Well, I have a theory, as they've played now 3 games in a span of 5 days, so I would be very surprised if they weren't already fatigued.
And as far as I can tell, it is the same starting lineup as those first 2 games as well. They do have some rotation, but they do have much less rotation generally than Jumbos do, so there are definitely downsides to having a squad that is so experienced where you don't have as many young depth options coming in.
Yeah, Jumbos kind of have the best of both worlds. They have this very high talented, as that's going to be a foul brought back there. Looks like there might have been a handball. But, or excuse me, they're going to call that a throw. Lost that ball in the sun there.
Yeah, it's quite bright on us right now. Hopefully the camera glare is not too bad.
Nice turn there from Nicholas Summers, who's then getting yanked down, and that's going to be a free kick.
And you don't often see fouls called where the tallest player on the pitch is getting pushed around a little bit, but sometimes it's that obvious where it has to be called.
Well, Nicholas Summers is often the exception to most rules. Someone who so talented on the soccer field, but then decided, I'm going to go back to my high school sport of lacrosse as a senior and put herself into the starting lineup of a team that made it to the Elite Eight. Just a phenomenal two-sport athlete here at Tufts.
Very impressive stuff from Summers, and she'll be looking to get on the score sheet again today. As we mentioned, she has scored in each of these last two fixtures against Emerson to start off the season. And the Jumbos are quite used to seeing Emerson at the start of the season. They have played them, with the exception of 2021 when the game was canceled, every year since 2016 where they had a season. They have played them, and they are yet to lose or tie in those games. So they'll be hoping to keep that streak going.
Kelly to take this corner from the right side. Stack play on. That one stood up towards the back post. Segru going up for it. Head bouncing around. And eventually Schwab falls on it at the far post.
It's those chaos moments in the corners where you can see a player just poke the ball and the keeper really has no idea what's going on. But Schwab able to get on top of it there.
Nicholas, beautiful ball in space for Aries. And that one will technically go down as a shot, but really it was a pass attempt that ended up in Schwab's hands.
And we've seen already the Jumbos on 3 shots and 2 on goal, but those really haven't been the most opportune shots. Outside of Summers' shot and Sumner's shot, it's been a lot of shots sort of at the keeper from far out where they haven't been able to get on as much pressure as they would be hoping. And for keeper Schwab's pedigree, it's hard to get those through.
It is, and I think one reason for that is kind of surprised at how few times I've said Elsie Aries' names in the first 10 minutes.
Very true.
Only touched the ball 3 times so far. That one swung wide to the near side. Marissa Kren forced to turn back. She'll dump it off to her center back. That one underhit completely. Nicholas on it with the first touch. Sumner between the lines. Kelly picks her head up. Has space. Through ball looking for Summers. Is it overhit? Yes, just a little bit.
Yeah, and Nicholas putting a lot of pressure on this line side. She's been able to get in and get some good interceptions, several points this game, and allowing for opportunities. She had one a few minutes ago leading to Aries' shot, and then one right there trying to find Summers out on that wing.
Yeah, Emily Nicholas really just so fast, so physical in that midfield. The perfect 6 for this Jumbo system.
And she's capable of playing both the Destroyer 6 that you see.
Aries with a shot on frame, deflected it in, and it took all of 11 minutes for Elsie Aries to get on the score sheet.
And Riley, what you're saying about not saying Elsie Aries' names much, she put it back.
Jake, that's what you would like to call the positive version of the broadcaster's jinx. Elsie Aries, as soon as I talk about not talking about her, she makes it 1-0, and it took 11 minutes. But the Bows are on the board. Elsie Aries' 20th career goal comes just 12 minutes into her junior season.
And she has been phenomenal for the Jumbos. She has 20 now career goals, which puts her in sole possession of the 9th place spot in career goals. And she is just starting her junior year. So keep an eye on her for record watch later in this season and next season. But really impressive stuff from Aries, and she's been phenomenal in her career here as a Jumbo.
Great start to the game for the Bows, and I think that's really disappointing for Emerson as Elsie Aries just went up and won that ball on the far side.
It's rare to see Aries winning a header, but she did it well there.
And here is Nicholas again winning a 50-50 and then dancing away with it. Space here for Kelly. Defender caught out. Kelly just couldn't quite force that through ball.
Some beautiful interplay from the Jumbos, all stemming out of Emily Nicholas, who's had a phenomenal game so far from that 6th position, really facilitating a lot of the Jumbos movement, along with cutting out a lot of the build-up play from the Lions.
And for the Lions, you really feel it's disappointing to go down so early because it forces them out of their shell. They now have to be more aggressive, which opens them up to a counterattack that was already quite lethal. As here is Kelly in transition. Beautiful through ball, going to find the feet of Jordan Kushner. She'll look to pick her head up. Cuts in onto her left. Second woman over. It'll pop free to Kelly. Turns onto her left foot. Has a hit from distance. Curl just wide.
And Kelly loves those range shots. She was second in the team in shot attempts last season, and she'll be looking to test Schaub from distance throughout this game.
Going to be a substitution, the first of the game for the Lions. Kelsey Lurie going to come in at the next whistle. But before they do that, Emily Nicholas with another interception. Aries, all sorts of space on her left foot. Can she make it? 2 off the crossbar.
And really, that shot looked very, very similar to the goal that she scored, going high right above the keeper. Get a little bit of spin on it, but this one just slightly too high. But if I were the Lions right now, I would be very scared.
I'm also wondering how Elsie Aries finds the ball on the top of the box with no one within 5 yards of her. That feels like something that should not happen if you're the Emerson defense.
Yeah, the build-up play from the Lions has not been as strong as I would hope. They've been struggling to find passes through the middle as Nicholas has really intercepted pretty much all the passes they've tried to play through the midfield. They're trying to go out wide now as the midfield wasn't working, which you expect to work well with Kaw and Slater as looking like a double pivot right now, and those are two of their strongest players, but they've been really shut down by this Jumbo's midfield.
Yeah, double pivot is really effective at most times. The problem is, as that one, another one under hit. You can't under hit balls against this Jumbo's middle of the press because you have Aries as the front line and Nicholas sweeping up behind her.
Alongside that, because of the double pivot, they have less players up in the attack who they can find balls to. So if the Jumbos are able to shut down that, finding those penetrative balls into the attacking third, finding players like Laurie now and Bezdek is pretty challenging when they have less players there as options.
Segru picks her head up. Aries comes all the way back to retrieve. Loose touch, lost it. Second ball under hit. Tracking all the way back to pick that one up is Carlson. She can't do anything more than shovel it on to Kushner. Segru's loose touch stayed with it, and it ends up at the feet of Jordan Kushner once again. Gigi Edwards says, "I'm bored," calls for it, and we'll restart the play at the back.
A wise drop there from Kushner. She saw she was trapped and switching to the other side of the field. Already putting a lot of pressure on some seemingly tired legs from the Lions.
Lovely little turn there from Caroline Kelly with the woman on her back.
And that is not just any woman on her back. That is Madeline Kaw, who's been the top scorer for the Lions, but hasn't had many looks today.
Birch on the right wing. Stop and go. Inside cut onto her left foot. Has a look. Has a bender save by Schwab.
And that's a really tough shot to get much whip around as she's got a player on her back and cutting sort of back to the goal. The ability to whip that into a shot that would do more than to test Schwab is very challenging. So can't do too much blame for Birch as Nicholas shoves Laurie.
Yeah, Nicholas very good at being physical. Maybe a little too much there.
Yeah, anytime a referee sees two hands in the back, they're going to call that.
But let's go back to that play a minute ago. Lovely little just communication between Summers and Reese Birch. Summers cuts in with the ball, and Birch knows immediately to make that outside run, show the option on the overlap. Summers finds her for another Jumbo's chance as this one down in the Jumbo's corner for the first time in a while. Doesn't stay there for long. Sumner on it, gives it away. So that one controlled there by Presley King. Little 1-2 under hit and then over hit, looking for Carlson. Gonna stay in, whipped across. Bumped out by Nicholas. Carlson's touch a little loose. Kelly stepped in, couldn't come away with the ball. As Kern's ball now hit down the channel, Segru not taking any chances, and that'll be an Emerson throw.
And I'm really enjoying this Emerson attack style. They're doing a lot of the diagonal penetrative runs that make it quite challenging as we see the Jumbos being stretched around. Holzbauer dragged over, allowing Holzberline dragged over, allowing for Wes Rodriguez to have a lot of space in that right wing, and a lot of opportunities being created by this movement from the Lions.
Throwing directly down the line. Nicely worked inside here for Sweeney. Whipped across and dealt with in the end by Segru. Space for Nicholas. Finds Kelly. Jumbos have all sorts of numbers ahead. Wide to Summers, who's 1v1 on the right side. Cuts inside, right around her woman. Through ball, just could not find Aries, cut out at the last woman. Great body strength there from Nicholas to get that ball forward. Aries into space for Sumner. Women lining up in the box for the Bows. Sumner, byline, whipped across. Could not quite get a runner to the near post before Schwab got to it.
Nicholas's physicality in the middle has just been so impressive throughout this game as she wins another ball for the Jumbos. And it's really been one of the main reasons why the Lions have struggled to really create many chances, as she's just been cutting out so many of their build-up plays and their passes in the middle, alongside just shouldering it off of players. And it's really hard if you can't really control the middle.
Through ball, nicely touched there by Aries. Can she get on the end of it? Answer is yes. Not much on the shot, though. Good idea there, because even though she didn't get a great look, she forced Schwab to not only save it, but hold the save, because Sumner was right there on the doorstep.
I think that almost might have been a cross to the back post of Sumner that was just slightly mishit based on the power of the ball. Would have been a great opportunity for Sumner back post wide open to finish it away.
And looking at the shots and the stat line, kind of tells the story so far through just under 20 minutes. 7-0 shots in favor of the Jumbos.
And this Jumbos defense has been very solid alongside Nicholas in front of them, who we've talked endlessly about. But Holzberline, O'Neill, Segru, and Kushner have all put in great shifts in the back, really shutting down any attacking chance the Lions have had, save for that one stretch of play a few minutes ago.
At the back here with Larking. She'll pick her head up. No press here from the Jumbos. Allows the center back to wander a little bit. Lovely little half turn there from Lori. Gets hacked in the ankles by Emily Nicholas. And that's one thing you want to just avoid when you're dominating a game like the Jumbos are. You can't have those ticky-tack fouls, because a dead ball opportunity is a chance for Emerson, despite the fact they've had really no sway in this game for the last 10-15 minutes, to get right back in it. This one to be taken by the center back. Stood up towards center of the box, bouncing dangerously, and eventually Edwards times it right.
And one thing that we have not mentioned so far is that Edwards is staring directly into the sun, and a ball hit high up like that, it's very hard to see for the keeper. But once she got a bit closer, she was able to calculate where it was and get onto it. But a little scary moment there for the Jumbos.
It was. You could tell that Edwards didn't see it until it took that first bounce, and had to be alert to it, because if she wasn't careful on that second one, could have ended up in the back of the net.
And the Jumbos will be very glad that there were no Lions players pouncing on that first bounce, because Edwards was not in position to receive it until after the ball hit the ground.
Beautiful little turn there from Sumner. Now cuts onto her right foot. Head up. Tried to have a shot. Deflected towards the back post. Bouncing around. And going to be a corner, I believe.
And that is why you see a lot of teams opting for the more inverted winger, where Sumner's able to cut onto her right foot there and put a great shot on goal. And that's the type of thing that you can get when you have a player who has their strong foot into the middle and really put a lot of challenge on her defender.
Yeah, Jumbos have it on both sides, with Summers the lefty on the right, Sumner the right-footed attack woman on the left. That one in towards the near post. Bouncing around, 2 Lions go down, and eventually it comes back to Kelly. Gonna cut byline around 2, head up, whipped across, and a great last-ditch tackle there from the Lions, preventing that ball, looking for Sumner. Holzberline had a touch. Aries now pressing hard, and a nice through ball is going to end up here with West Rodriguez. Jumbo's caught out a little bit. Holzberline back defensively. West Rodriguez looking for an overlapping run. Not one coming. Has some space now. Can she have a shot? Instead tries to play it through looking for Lori, but overhit, and that'll be a Jumbo's throw.
I will say I was very impressed by Holzberline there. The number one rule as a defender on a counterattack is slow them down. And she did a great job getting in front of West Rodriguez, really making her take time. Her whole defense got back, and by that time, West Rodriguez was able to cut into the middle. The defense was set and ready for it.
Yeah, just a great job by the whole defense because it looked for a second like it was going to be an odd woman rush. In the end, not even a shot for the Lions.
And
dangerous ball could be picked off by Sumner. Instead, it'll be a Jumbo's throw.
But the Jumbos just continuing to put pressure on the Lions there as they really can't catch a break. They just try to attack and immediately get pushed again with King forced to just kick the ball out of bounds, giving the Jumbos a chance down here with Summers at the throw.
Summers has a really nice long throw, decides to go short instead. Little 1-2 with Kelly. Whips one in towards the back post. Aries trying to get to it, and it'll end up with her on the edge of the 18. Aries stands it up towards the back post. Couldn't find a runner. It'll pop out to Kushner. Stood up, back in. Think Aries might have been offside. Sumner's on. Little up and under. Slide tackle late. They're going to say she got ball. Did Slater. Had to time that right, and she did.
A very exciting attack there with Sumner doing a sort of unorthodox move there. Hard to tell if it was intentional or not, but sometimes doing moves that the defense isn't expecting can allow you to sneak by quite effectively.
O'Neal, no trouble taking that one down. Beautiful ball down the line for Sumner. And all that can be done by Melissa Kren is to just send that one out for yet another Jumbo's throw. .21 minutes to go, first half. Jumbo's leading 1-0. Sumner, little half turn onto her right. 1v3, still keeping the ball. And it'll go out. This one's going to be a Lions throw as Anna Griffin set to check in, be the first Jumbo substitution of the day. She'll be coming in for Sumner right now as, stop me if you've heard it again, Jake, it's going to be another Jumbo's throw.
It looks like actually this one might be going to the Lions.
A little bit of a miscommunication there. Kate Holzberline thought it was for her.
Nope, it is going to be a Jumbos though. The referee did point down toward the Lions, but nope. All right. I think he was just pointing to the sub bench there.
Summers has come near side as Holzberline sends one in. Missed ahead, pops free to Nicholas just outside. Stands one up, looking for the backdoor run of Griffin. Can she keep it in? Not quite. Good idea there from Nicholas.
And it does seem that Griffin has moved over to the right side as Summers is now on the left where Sumner was.
So the Jumbo's going to switch things up a little bit, go to more standard wingers as opposed to the inverted wingers we saw to start the game.
And the Jumbo's press does not stop as Aries puts high pressure on to King.
And a little ticky-tack foul there on Holzberline.
I think they're going to call hand to the back there, putting a little bit too much pressure on the newly subbed in Emma Brady of the Lions.
Free kick taken low, and another shove in the back called. Jumbo's starting to rack up the fouls here.
That they are. They are now on 4 fouls to 1 foul of the Lions.
And in a dangerous spot here, as Presley King can stand another ball up, put one once again where Edwards is going to have to deal with the sun and the ball. That one directly on target, and Edwards saw it the whole way.
You can also just tell by the contact made with the ball how much force is being put into that. And there was a lot more force, a lot more effort put into that kick. You can tell really trying to test Edwards much more so than the last one, which is set more as a ball into the box.
Nicholas, Birch, Aries trying to get on the end of it. Out comes Schwab to collect. It was 1v1 and the keeper won the race.
And that's the type of maturity you see from a veteran keeper now in her senior 4 years of being the #1 for the Lions. And she knows when she can get out, when she can come get it. And no matter how fast Aries is, she's going to win that race.
Emerson has gotten themselves on the scoreboard in terms of shots. It's now standing at 10-2. through the first 2/3 of this first half. And just a really sloppy play there from the Lions. Turned their throw-in into a Jumbos one. Just like that. And Jumbo's going to return the favor. That one looked to have bounced off the outside of the knee of Caroline Kelly.
And the knee is just like a toe where you just really have no idea where it's going to go after it hits it.
That one Kelly knew about as she laid it off beautifully. Summers couldn't quite get the nutmeg. As coming the other way, here is King. Picks her head up, but under hits it. Little bit of a miscommunication between the center backs. But once again, Emily Nicholas right there to clean up the danger.
And that is where the Jumbos do have a slightly new center back pairing of O'Neill and Sugru, while we know that the Emerson Lions have essentially the same defensive squad that they had last year. So those issues may be avoided for the Lions.
Summers picks her head up, finds Aries filling her void on the left side. Aries around 2. Through ball aiming for Griffin, cut out there. And that's going to end up all the way back with Holzberline headed down into Carlson's feet. And another behind the back challenge there by O'Neill, who's got to be careful she doesn't get herself in any sort of trouble. Quickly taken free kick here from the Lions. Sweeney plays that one down the line looking for Emma Brady. Can she keep it in? Answer is yes, but then cannot control the second touch. That'll go out of play, and the Jumbos going to make 2 more substitutions. It'll be the 2 front-facing midfielders coming out in Kelly and Birch, and into the game for the first time will be Aoife O'Reilly and Marin Jones.
Marin Jones, the first year, making her first appearance on Bellow Field for the Jumbos. Exciting moment for her as she seems to be settling in on that right side of that midfield.
Nicholas turns and pivots to O'Neill. Dangerous ball, but Holzberline read it like a book. Between the lines, just a little too strong for O'Reilly. Second ball is going to end up with the Lions. Nicholas Summers was not on the same page as the referee there, but in the end, O'Neill's going to win the race. And just to go back to that point about the center backs, they did not play together as center backs last year, but did play a good amount together as the starting center backs in 2022, back when Liv Patz was playing as a wingback.
Sure, O'Neill has also had a fair share of time on that fullback side as well. So they're very used to playing in that defensive line, but haven't played as a center back pairing for a little while. But that chemistry already seems to be quite strong and will, I'm sure, only improve as the season goes on.
That one pops wide here. Whipped in towards the center. Holzberline off her line to collect. Flipped on nicely by O'Reilly to Jones. The first year from California finds her senior Californian in Kushner. That one under hit for O'Reilly, picked off for a loose touch there by Emma Brady. Gets picked right back, and that'll be a Jumbo's throw. And the message being sent from Maddie Kaw that her freshman cannot hold on to that ball for that long against this Jumbo's team. As we can see here, as Holzberline gets set for this throw, just how much the players are fighting this sun.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Jumbos are going to have that disadvantage in this half, but I think by the time the Lions get on this side of the field, the sun will be fully set, so the Lions will definitely be preferring their half of the field right now.
Because they're going to get most of that half with the sun set, but they're probably going to get about the first 5 to 10 minutes of that second half with it at just about horizontal, directly in the eyes of Schwab.
Which is brutal for the goalkeeper, and expect the Jumbos coming on very strong entering that first few minutes of the second half.
O'Reilly on it into Aries. Lovely little half turn, but a good job there by King to separate woman from ball.
I think King's got probably 7 or 8 inches there on Aries and able to use her body effectively to prevent Aries getting around her, even though Aries was able to get the ball through.
That one pops all the way free here to Kayla Sweeney. Duncan set to check in at the next whistle. Nicholas with her head up. And it'll come here to Kushner. Her side of the field already completely in shadows. Aries comes all the way back to collect. Through ball knocked down at the first wave. Nicholas with another intervention. That one unsuccessful. O'Reilly's second effort wins the ball back. Through ball to Segru. Jones flips it wide. Kushner with her head up, right back to the first year. That one down the line, Anna Griffin now. Stop and go. That's going to be spun. Will it stay in play? Answer is yes. And it'll eventually go out for a Jumbo's throw. Duncan going to come in, give her fellow fifth-year senior in Nicholas Summers a rest.
One player we haven't seen come off yet is Emily Nicholas, who we haven't spoken quite as much about her in the last few minutes as she hasn't been quite as involved, but that 6-year-old, quite an exhausting one, but also one that's really hard to sub off because you got to get into the rhythm of the game, and switching that up kind of switch up the whole heart of the team. So often you'll see coaches not choose to sub off their 6.
Nicholas from distance off the crossbar.
I said we hadn't seen her name in a while, and she made sure we...
You're getting real good at that, Jake.
I am, definitely. I mean, we said we hadn't heard LT Aries' name in a while, and she scored, and then same thing for Nicholas. So some positive jinxes here on the broadcast today.
It's unusual. Schwab to take the goal kick just over 10 minutes ago in the first half here of the season opener. And 50-50 ball, and the freshman comes away with it. O'Neal with all sorts of space. And at the beginning of the game, we were talking about the high press from the Lions. Now we're talking about the fact that the press seemingly disappeared.
And that isn't uncommon. You'll see teams often try to press for the first minute or two of the game to catch their opponents off guard, but really settle into more of a compact defensive shape after that. And that's something the Lions have chosen to do. Whether that's a directive from Coach Suvak or a more just fatigue-based decision, not entirely sure.
Great run there from Kushner. 1-2 ball. Aries around one. And back the other way. Picks her head up. Has a look on her left foot. Just over the bar. And that was a matter of inches from Macon Sports Center.
That shot had some insane arc on that. I do not think Schwab would have been able to get there, but just a little bit too high. Elsie Aries, phenomenal individual play in the middle there, dodging around several players and getting a very impressive shot off with her left foot.
That one pops free in the middle. Segru with a nice step. Aries uses her body to take that one down. Then backs down another woman. Wins the ball wide to Kushner. In between to Jones. Through ball perfectly in stride for Anna Griffin. That one whips back across. And they're going to say it went out first. And already you're seeing the first year Jones with some nice combination play down that right wing.
Yeah, and something that the Jumbos love to see. Their first years have often taken a little bit of time to integrate into the starting lineup, but getting action in these first few games is highly important and a great way to see how they gel with the rest of the team in real-time games.
Another throw here for the Bows. This one into Aries. Another half turn. Has some space. Late tackle. Crowd did not like it. Play on, says the referee. Emma Brady picks her head up. Couldn't get around Holtzberg line. Tried to play Aries. She was getting herself back from an offside position. Good hustle there from Duncan. Should be and is a Jumbo's throw.
And Holtzberg line has really stepped it up in this second part of the first half. There were a few times in the first half where we saw Wes Rodriguez get around her, but really after about 5 minutes in, she has shut down this left flank and making it very challenging for Brady and the Lions to get really anything going on their right side.
Segru with a nice diagonal ball forced the throw out, looking for Griffin there. And something interesting to note, we've started to see since Maren Jones has gone into the game. Jones plays as that more forward central midfielder on offense, or on defense. Offensively, she almost acts as if a second pivot. as that one bounces around. O'Reilly trying to get on the end of it, and eventually just sent out of play by Slater.
She certainly has held up a lot of play on that right side, particularly connecting well with both Kushner and Griffin as Griffin takes the ball out of play.
Another 50-50 ball, and another one recovered by Emily Nicholas.
And one thing the Jumbos have adapted well to, as Nicholas has gotten more fatigued as the game gone on, Segru and O'Neill have stepped up more, and almost Segru playing as a sweeper of, stopper of sorts, putting up additional pressure and making it more challenging for the Lions to build up, as Nicholas hasn't been able to be quite as much everywhere as she was in that first 20 minutes or so.
50-50 ball, won by O'Reilly. And Jumbo's doing a great job just winning the 1v1 battles, both offensively and defensively right now. It's a major reason why they are in control in this game. Another reason is Elsie Aries is winning everything in the center of the pitch.
And she has been doing remarkable with keeping the ball on her, not letting herself get body over, or when she does, drawing fouls like she did there. But she's been very good with her ball control, keeping the ball tight.
O'Neill, the left footer, going to take it from the right side. This is a dangerous spot because she can stand this one up to the near post or hit it far towards the back post. Going to come near. Aries trying to get on the end of it and just couldn't quite time the run.
I love the idea there, but that's a very tough thing for Aries to do. The ball skipping like essentially parallel to her as she's running. To get a good contact on that, it's very challenging. It is unexpected, though, because most defenses will expect to see the ball come across toward the back post, where it's easier to get a sort of sideways header in comparison to a straight-ahead shot that Aries was aiming for.
Sun dips completely down all of a sudden, and now the Jumbos can actually see what they're doing and pick their heads up defensively. That one hit hard. Holtzberg line between the lines. Didn't quite have a run as Duncan was getting forward. Dangerous touch given away. O'Reilly can pick her head up.
So, O'Reilly, as we mentioned earlier, that does mean, though, that the Lions will be spared that sun in their eyes for the first part of the second half. I imagine Coach Suvak and the Lions will be very relieved to see the sun go down.
Have to imagine they were feeling really happy when they won the coin toss earlier.
I'm certain of that. Often the coin toss doesn't have that much of a difference, but in this case,
these
quite
twilight
a major
games
one.
in the fall, they have all the difference in the world. First chance in a long time here for the Lions. Wojcik going to pick her head up, looking for a teammate's run. Has Sweeney. Kushner out to challenge. Sweeney cuts onto her right foot. In swinger. Segru knocks it out, not completely. Second ball whipped all the way through, and it'll go out for a goal kick.
Question there, when Ka was running forward, Sweeney drifted very, very far left, and Brady had more space on the right side, but there was really no other option for Ka, and that allowed the Jumbos to kind of shut down Sweeney on the far left side. So if they're going to counterattack, they probably need more numbers than that if they want to really challenge this Jumbos defense.
Yeah, and I think also not only that, if you're Ka, if you know you're going to go left, you got to at least take the ball a pace or two left. See if you can draw over another defender to you so you can isolate one-on-one with Sweeney against Kushner. Because Kushner, yeah, she was 1v1, but she had help inside in the form of Segru, who was able to knock that ball down before it got past the first defender.
And it did seem like Ka really telegraphed where she was going, meaning that the Jumbos were able to drift over and leave Brady a little bit more space. So if she had picked her head up and switched the other side, she could have found Brady, who had much more space than Sweeney did at that point.
That one a nice through ball. Flipped on nicely here to Zoe Simmons. Nicholas picks it off her like taking candy from a baby. Through ball couldn't quite find O'Reilly, as now Slater will turn and go. Got caught under her own feet. O'Reilly just stops it. Might have had numbers there. Instead decides to turn it back, and the Jumbos will start from the back. In fact, they'll start all the way back with Gigi Edwards back on her own end line.
We see Simmons, the sophomore forward for the Lions, putting a little bit of pressure on, but didn't have any support behind her, and the Jumbos are able to work well.
And here we see Marin Jones dropping into that pivot as Nicholas, who has played the entire first half, moves a little bit further up as she's getting a little more fatigued.
And you like to see that fluidity in the midfield, allowing different players to move around, making it harder for the defense to really know what to expect.
Duncan in behind. Can she get on the end of it? Schwab just going to win that race as well.
Great idea there from Holzborough line, seeing Duncan's run through. If the ball had maybe slightly less on it, Duncan would have been through on goal with a very good chance against Schwab.
Yeah, and I mean, we got to talk about her, Anna-Mara Schwab, because without her, it could easily be 3, 4, maybe even 5-0 right now.
And a commentator cursed there as she shanks the ball out of bounds, but you know the saying, when in doubt, get it out. She had a lot of pressure on there from Elsa Aries, and better to kick the ball out of bounds and accidentally try to take a touch and take a gamble taking on one of the best forwards in Division 3.
Another Jumbo's throw. This one a little bit further down. Be interested to see, with us dipping now into the last 2 minutes of the first half, would they try and run a set play off the throw? Answer is no. Holzborough line with some time here. Dances around her woman. Then hits one a little too strong, looking for Duncan.
And I like Holzborough line taking on her player on this left side, but I do wonder if she could have turned around and switched back, because there was a lot of Lions presence on that left side. They could have sort of reset and built a different attack, but I like the ingenuity of taking on her woman and winning her duel.
Big intervention there from Segru as Kushner had kind of choked in. Duncan trying to get on the end of it, and Griffin can't quite keep it in. As just over a minute to go in the first half, and for all the Jumbo's dominance, still only a 1-goal lead on the scoreboard.
And that's a dangerous one, because if the Lions are able to get a goal sort of against the run of play right now, suddenly this game opens up a lot more.
It looks as if this is a Jumbo's free kick. Didn't ever really hear a whistle, but if the Jumbos are smart, they can milk the clock here, make this the last chance of the first half. And in fact, the Lions, by refusing to take the 10 yards, are going to help them in that quest. Segru to take towards the near post. Jones up, flicked on, free header, and in the back of the net by Anna Griffin. The Jumbos make them pay.
And Griffin doing excellent to get on the back of that ball. And Griffin was the one who, with her hustle on the far side, won the free kick. And really, I think, deserving of a goal. She's been putting a lot of hustle in, chasing down as many balls as she could find and making it very challenging for the Lions side. And this time, just right place, right time, able to get her head on the ball, back post, putting it away. Some chaos in the box. Schaub going for the ball, clustered around a lot of players. Ball goes through. Griffin able to put it away.
And a big moment for Anna Griffin. Her first career goal for the junior with 30 seconds to go in the debut of her junior season. And here she is again. Could the Jumbos have one more? 15 seconds to go, and it looks as if they're more than content to just let the clock roll to the half. A dominant first half for the Bows. The number 4 team in the country shows why they are ranked as such. In dominating fashion, outshooting the Lions by 10 and outscoring them 2-0 on the scoreboard. We go to the break here at Bello. Emerson 0, Jumbos 2. listening to us at home and think this is something you'd love to do? Are you a Tufts undergrad who has always wanted to be behind the mic, directing a game, or working a camera at some of the coolest sporting events in all of D3 athletics? Well, come to the JumboCast GIMs this Sunday and Monday in Olin 12. Find out what it's all about. Talk to guys like me, Jake, and our wonderful director, Zachary Miller. See what we love so much about this experience. See if it's right for you. Come join us. We'll also be at the club fair in Section C. You can come meet us then. Come to our GIM. See what it's all about. Speaking of things that are all about it, Elsiere's performance really was the storyline in the first half here for the Bows. But as we turn to the second half, Jake, and we think about potential new players entering the game, getting some first looks for the season, do you have anyone in particular you have your eyes on?
I think there's a lot of different Jumbos who could really get into it. I expect to see, as the second half progresses, we see a lot of new faces come on. It's a great opportunity for first years to get some action in the season, and we know that Coach Whiting isn't afraid to get some first years into the system. We know Gigi Edwards, obviously one of the standout faces there, Rogers as well, who we've seen come in as a first year and get a lot of good game time. So it's a chance for a lot of first years to really come out and show that they deserve to get that game time. We've seen already Marin Jones doing an excellent job in that middle of the park, but we'll see who else can come in and prove why they deserve to get more game time.
Yeah, I'd say very, very loaded squad where minutes are going to be hard to come by, especially for these underclassmen. When you come into a team that conceivably, at least from a paper standpoint, has a built-in starter at every position, you're going to have to stand out. But we've seen some standout performances from impact freshmen in this program in the past. Could be seeing one here from Marin Jones, the way she started her first 10 minutes. Second half underway, and the Lions going to kick things off. They're going right to left across your screen in the all-black. Jumbos in the white and blue going left to right.
It looks like the Jumbos have returned to their initial starting lineup. That means Birch, Kelly, and Nicholas are back in the midfield. Nicholas still yet to have a break, but putting in some great performances there as the Lions put a bit of attack on the Jumbos' goal.
Yeah, crossing attempt. Best look they've had in a while, but not anywhere near the frame.
It is a slightly different look for the Lions coming out, though, as we see Sweeney is staying on instead of Bezdek, who was playing at that number 9 spot earlier in the game.
Summers picks her head up. Kelly in between the lines to Summers, who has a lot of space, and she's going to fly. Summers, all sorts of space. Plays it wide, a little bit too much on it. Birch going to be able to keep it in. Goes around her defender with the nutmeg, and it'll go out for a Jumbo's throw.
Summers there taking the ball forward like that. Reminds me of something we might see her do on the lacrosse field earlier last spring. So something she's quite used to running at players on Bello, this time with the ball at her feet, not in her stick.
That time she wins a corner as Caroline Kelly going to come over and take it. Center backs coming to line up on the edge of the box. That one swung towards the back post. Schwab couldn't get it cleanly. It bounced off the head of Segru and eventually corralled by Summers, who's going to try and keep it in. Does so by playing it off her defender for yet another Jumbo's throw.
And these corners of the Jumbos have been very dangerous. There's a lot of great movement in the box, making it very hard for the Lions to guard them. And we've seen quite a few chances come out of corner kicks for the Jumbos.
Nice turn by Birch. Now Kelly controls, spins through 2, tries to get to the byline, can't, but she wins her team yet another corner.
And there's clearly been some practice on corners. It's not just something they're doing. They have trained what to do, what movement to do, what runs to do. We see several times now we've seen Summers and Sumner drop to the back post, as they're doing right now.
And timed well. Free header almost came. Eventually it's going to fall to Summers. That looked like it might have hit a hand, and it's a pen.
And there's a product of those tricky corners. The second time we've seen Summers get the ball on that back post and get a good chance.
And a very vocal displeasure from David Suvak, who wants a word with the referee. He's arguing his defender had her arms. Looks like it's Colin Connolly, excuse me. But the referee not really interested in the argument.
There's not much precedent for a referee to change his call at this point without a video screen to look at.
Yeah, and that is not something we currently have the technological capabilities for on Bello Field. Nicholas Summers to take the penalty. Chance to make it 3-0 just 2 minutes into the second half. Summers looking for career goal number 10. Right at the keeper.
And the penalty question was one that the Jumbos were going to have to think about this season. Both their penalty kick takers last year, Silveira and Greenberg, have moved on from the program. So it was going to be a question, and Summers unable to convert the penalty.
Kelly still running with it. That one taken away there by Slater. Loose touch, and it's going to be brought back for the tackle from Kelly on Slater.
And you always love to see the referee giving advantage, but you could see there once the Lions dropped it back again that there was really no advantage from the foul, so bringing the call back. Good refereeing from the center.
This one will be taken by Matty Kaw, who interestingly listed on the roster as a midfielder, but at this point is playing pretty much as an out-and-out center back.
And she's also was last season their highest scorer with 6 goals. So seeing her this far back is not a good sign for the Lions as they look to put pressure on the Jumbos' goal when your best scorer and also highest shot taker from last season is playing this far back.
Free kick for the Bows going to be taken by O'Neal, telling her midfielders to push up a little bit. That one gets all the way through. Flicked on there to West Rodriguez. Nicely backheeled there from Sweeney, but couldn't be kept in play.
And attacking output was always going to be a question for these Lions, as we know that they have a pretty solid defense, but their attack, they lost 2 of their major attackers.
Here is Sumner. Aries with a little bit of a loose touch. She's going to control it, but the momentum halted. Between the lines, Elsie gets it back. Around 1. Through ball looking for a teammate. Couldn't quite find it. Schwab had to control it as it had deflected off of one of her defenders.
And as I was mentioning before, Tufts got a bit of an attack. The Emerson Lions have lost 3 key members of their attack and 2 players they really rely on in clutch situations. They lost Brittany Rigetti, who was first team All-Numac, Gina Lukowski, who was second team All-Numac, and Simone Berrigan-Shaw, who scored against the Jumbos 2 years ago when they last met here on Bello Field. And they had some crucial goals in that NUMAC playoff run with Berrigan-Shaw and Lukowski scoring to propel them forward in that comeback win against Coast Guard Academy. So they're missing those clutch players who can really show up in a time when you're down and score some goals, put some pressure on the opposite team. So while they do have all their defense returning, they're missing several key cogs of their attack from last season.
Nicholas wins the first and second balls. Aries won the third. Fourth one was a run-in between 2 Jumbos, bouncing everywhere. Eventually, Summers knocks it forward. Sumner's going to go run that ball down on the left corner. Cuts back to her right. In-swinger, Aries flicks it on. Summers up top. Kelly tries to get a shot. That one blocked. Second one deflected, and that's going to be I believe a goal kick.
Let's talk about that grit there showed by Nicholas, winning not 1, not 2, but 3 balls in a row there, and really continuing to put pressure on this Lions team, not giving them a break, not allowing them to win those 50-50 balls. She has been a standout player for the Jumbos tonight.
Jumbos with a little bit higher of a press. Here comes Summers, and she won the ball cleanly. That one deflects, wins it back, runs through her woman and Lauren Larking, but can't keep the ball in play.
And the Lions really need something to go their way here. The Jumbos are just running all over them, winning every 50-50 ball, winning every chance they get. Summers is just running through players at this point, and the Lions really need a reset, really need something to go right in order to shut down this Jumbo momentum we're seeing.
Yeah, I think the best kind of visual description for how this game is going is Emily Nicholas is the Jumbo's holding midfielder. Right now is the first time she's been in the Jumbo's half the entirety of the second half. Summers. Lovely ball, perfectly timed run by Reese Birch. Has Aries inside. Picks her head up. And the horizontal ball cut out. That one pops free. Kelly, wide to Sumner now. Jumbo's pouring on the gas. Curled into the back of the net. Waverly Sumner, have yourself a day.
What a finish there from Waverly Sumner. Nothing that Schwab could do on a very strong shot. And it's going to take those sort of unorthodox, those challenging shots heading toward that side net to really test the keeper of Schwab's quality. And in that one, excellently placed there from Waverly Sumner.
And we talked about it all of the first half, but it's worth talking about as we see that replay. Just how important those inverted wingers are. Summers gets the play started, winning it on her left foot here on the right sideline. And then that curled shot from Sumner. Just perfection on the turf here at Bello. Lions have a shot on frame, but not going to do much to challenge Gigi Edwards.
I like the intensity coming out of the break, but not enough as they get immediately put back under the pressure.
Aries behind the line, stops on a dime. She wants it just over the top as she was trying to recreate what Sumner had done a minute earlier.
Yeah, Aries sees Sumner, takes a looping back post shot from the top corner of the box, decides to give it a go too, and it almost worked out just as well. Jumbo's really just running all over the lines at this point.
Yeah, it kind of feels like target practice. Segru comes all the way up to the 2/3 mark to pick that one off. Little miscommunication there. Good idea from Summers. Birch just wasn't quite ready for it.
We did see a ball a few minutes ago where Summers perfectly timed finding Birch on that right side, and it's been, aside from really that moment, been excellent communication between the two of them, and they've been working really well with this new midfield partnership.
It's interesting. First half, we saw the left side of the Jumbo's attack really dominate. Now here in the second half, the majority of the offense coming from the right side.
Even though the goal coming from the left side, but that's what happens when you put more pressure on the right side is the left side weakens as the defense shifts over slightly more, so allowing Sumner to have a little bit more space to take some time and get a great shot on goal. That's a product of the pressure that Summers has been putting on this right side.
Another 50-50 ball. This one won by Holzborough Line. Sumner's trying to keep it in. Can't quite win the race, but the effort race is being, well, it's kind of unfair to call it a race at this point because it's turning into a massacre.
Yeah, the Jumbos just across the board from Nicholas in the middle to Griffin into that first half. Now to Sumner.
That is Shirley playing on the ground.
And Holzborough Line really just winning all the effort attempts there, putting in that extra step or two, make it so much harder for the Lions to do anything.
Great interception there by Larkin. Had to time it because she would have gotten herself carded if she caught any of Caroline Kelly. Beautiful ball over the top. West Rodriguez couldn't grab it cleanly, and that's kind of how the night's going for the Lions.
It's a very unfortunate moment there for the Lions as West Rodriguez has been drifting very, very far out wide, as we saw more in the first half, not getting many opportunities in the second half, but when she does get an opportunity to expose Holzborough Line behind her, unable to control the ball.
And Emily Nicholas just continuing to show off her close dribbling skills. Kushner now going to take a turn. Summers drops all the way back to her own half to pick it up. Dances around one. Gets it taken off her by Slater. Jumbo's caught out a bit here, but another poorly timed pass. Kushner won the 50-50. This one going to be controlled by Kelsey Laurie wide to West Rodriguez. Picks her head up in between the lines. That one's going to bounce all the way through. Holzborough Line sends it forward. Second ball going to be chested down by Sumner, but she gave it away. That one sent forward. Nice touch there from Sweeney.
And you know, Riley, the last time these two teams played, it was a
Yeah, a lot of contact there.
3-0 result with the Jumbos winning over in Boston at Emerson. This time it's a 3-0 right now with 33 minutes left to play. The only thing we're really missing is Nicola Summers' goal, but we'll see if that still comes up. She had her chance, but the penalty didn't quite work out for the Jumbos.
And a first corner of the night going to come for the Lions there. That one went out off of Segru.
One thing this Jumbo side is not lacking is height. They have quite the array of tall players from Summers, O'Neill, Birch, Segru, all of whom can really make it challenging for the Lions. They do have King up there for the Lions, who does have quite a bit of height as well, so she'll be a target for sure.
High ball, and I don't think they heeded your advice, Jake. They tried to win the height race, couldn't, and now Kelly is going to send one down the channel looking for Elsie Aries, who's now 1v1. Aries, now 1v3, around one, on her left foot, with the shot deflected wide, and 1v3, Aries still wins the corner.
Excellent work there from Aries. And to give credit to the Lions, they did heed the one player who I did suggest they aim for. It was going to King, but good defense from Segru to stop that from happening. And excellent play by the Jumbos to unleash Aries on the attack. Able to win a corner here.
Caroline Kelly getting a little bit sick of taking corners. This one stood up towards the back post. Segru chested it down, and Holtzberline just couldn't keep her chest over that ball.
I'm curious, a lot of these corners have gone far, and Summers has sort of drifted back a little bit to collect the corners. That's how they got the penalty in the first place. I'm curious if that's a direction they've been getting to sort of look more to that back post to see if they can find Summers with the back shot. Because you would expect Summers to be in the box as she is one of their tallest players, but I think they like the look she's been getting from that backside, and I'm not surprised. She's been very strong from that right side off the corners. 2 great opportunities and winning a penalty.
Aries lost it for the first time all day, but not for long. Segru wins it right back. Reese Birch going to pick her head up. And Nicholas with all sorts of time and space. Pushes it wide to Sumner. Back in that trademark spot, lays it off for Kelly. She wants a hit, little too high.
I think everyone wants a take from that spot where Sumner scored the goal. This time Kelly going for it.
Now we've seen Sumner have a hit from there. We've seen Aries have a few. Now Kelly took her turn. Got a bet on who's going to take that shot from that spot next?
I won't be surprised if we see another 1 or 2 of those go in with how this game has been going in this second half.
Goal kick just hangs up. Nicholas wins the race in the air. Aries going to win the race down the line. Laid off for Summers. She has Kushner and finds her. Back to Summers. On her left foot. Hard and low across. Second ball spinning. And it gets over Nicholas's head and is controlled by Sweeney. Has the wide ball to West Rodriguez. Couple runners here for the Lions. Down the channel looking for the run of Sweeney, but O'Neill right there to shovel that out of play.
And the Jumbos, we talked about losing Pats, but the defensive line has looked very mature, very well set up in this game. We've seen Segru and O'Neill form a very strong partnership, and that back four has not changed this entire game, and they've been rock solid.
Summers wins the throw once again. Kind of surprised we haven't seen any substitutions at this point in the second half with a 3-goal lead and a big game in the conference slate at Williams at the weekend.
And we know Williams is quite the strong team. You mentioned the last time they played, it was the Jumbos' last game on Bello where they fell 1-0. So they'll be hoping to avenge that loss this year.
Kushner underhit that ball, but it's going to find Kelly anyway. And she turns on a dime, opens up right into the space for Emily Nicholas. Draws in Slater, through ball perfectly for Birch. Tried to meg her woman, couldn't quite time that. Sumner came away with it, and no chances being taken by Sweeney, who just sends that one into the fence.
Fair enough, under lots of pressure there, just getting the ball out of play, getting a chance to catch their breath. is probably quite good for this Lions team.
Birch fighting 1v2. 3 women go down. Kelly comes away with the ball into Aries. Turns onto her right foot. Tries to get a shot going back left. Still down is Emily Nicholas. Looks as if she has a cramp. Play continuing as the Lions going the other way. That one hit off the foot of Holtzberline and I believe is going to go out for a corner. No, she's going to save it, make that a throw. And now the trainer will come out for Emily Nicholas.
Luckily, it doesn't look too serious as it is a throw-in for the Lions down the other end as Holtzberline makes a great hustle play to keep the ball in.
Yeah, Nicholas looks no worse for the wear. It just looks to be a cramp. That's kind of what happens when you take a 80-degree day and you put someone in the 6th spot and say, we're going to run you all game.
Especially as this is the first game of the season, still working into the play. And as we near about the 29 minutes left in this game, there's still a lot of time, but the Lions, I imagine, will just be wanting those minutes to disappear and wanting to get home, wanting it to reset and get ready for the next game, as this game has not gone the way they were hoping.
While we have you in a little bit of a momentary pause, we'll let you know what our schedule here is on JumboCast. No home games this weekend, but next weekend is homecoming weekend, and boy, is it a big one. We got a doubleheader of volleyball game on Friday. Then Saturday, you ready for this? We got a doubleheader here on Bella of Soccer. Then a nightcap at Ellis Oval for football's home opener. Sunday, we're right back here for another NESCAC doubleheader. If you counted that all up, that is 7 games in 48 hours, all of which will be brought to you exclusively on JumboCast. In the meantime, speaking of things brought to you on JumboCast, a Jumbo's debut for Sarah Hawk coming in to replace Emily Nicholas.
This will be really interesting to see how Hawk does in this new 6 role. As we mentioned, it's a very critical position for this Jumbo side. They play a single pivot, which means that pivot role in the middle of the field is really important for their possession style and for building out of the back, which they haven't had to do much of in the second half because they've just had the ball in the attacking third for a long time. But if the Lions are able to put a little more pressure on, we'll get to really see how Hawk is tested for the Lions.
Yeah, kind of interested to see the first year get the minutes. Was expecting that if there needed to be a substitution for Nicholas, it would go to Aoife O'Reilly, who had played that pivot for large parts of her first 2 years.
Yeah, but you wonder if at 3-0 up, they're trying to see what Hawk can do in a relatively lower pressure environment than they may see once the NESCAC play starts.
That's a great point, Jake. Going to be a lot easier to adapt to the play of Division III soccer as that ball's coming right for us.
It's like they have the scorer's table instead of us. Luckily, our equipment is safe.
Yeah, that's why we have the scorer's table. We don't actually care about the stats. We just want our stuff to be safe.
It's a buffer.
Here is Hawk fighting hard. That ball went out of play. And the first action of the first year's career is to win her team a throw. And here she is again on the ball. Beautiful ball right to Caroline O'Neill.
And O'Neill showing that maturity from the back line, taking her time, getting it set out to Holzberline.
And speaking of first years who make it unique opportunities, the first year goalkeeper for the Lions, Haley Foreman, warming up on the sidelines as Emerson potentially thinking about a goaltender change with the score being as it is.
And you do think that are the Lions going to do after Schwab goes on? She's been the starter for 4 years in a row. A very talented goalkeeper, but she won't be here next year, so big questions for that next spot.
That one whipped in, bouncing around. Holzberline gets it out, but not completely. Second ball stood up well, flicked on, and in the end, a good job from that defensive line, clearing the space in front of Edwards, allowing her to see it completely and collect. And it is kind of indicative of how important Emily Nicholas is that the first time we've really seen the Jumbos struggle defensively all night was immediately after she came out of the game.
Yeah, and she's really made herself indispensable in that midfield in just her sophomore year. She's been quite talented and really, as we mentioned, first year getting chances to play. She got a chance to play last year, proved her worth in that midfield, is now a lock in that defensive midfield spot. So maybe it's Hawk's turn to prove her worth here in this midfield. We've also seen Marin Jones do that quite often as well.
Speaking of players getting a chance to prove themselves, a line change coming for the forwards momentarily. It'll be Hannah Batt entering the game for the first time alongside the re-entry of Anna Griffin and Erin Duncan.
Griffin, the goal scorer from right before the half. We imagine they'll get quite a good run up of the front, giving Aries, Summers, and Sumner a break, who've had quite the second half, putting so much pressure on this Lions defense. This is the first time the Lions defense really have had a breather this entire half.
Here's Reese Birch with all sorts of space. And she's just so comfortable on the ball, is the sophomore. And just you can see just the level of connection between her and Kate Holtzbein. Two players who grew up together, played together in high school, now playing together at the collegiate level as a beautiful 1-2 connection. Great job by Kushner to keep that in play. Summers now fighting for it down the sideline. And eventually it's going to be a throw for the Lions, but what an effort by Jordan Kushner.
Definitely, and keeping the ball in play there, quite challenging, but able to get her foot up and keep the ball in play. Very impressive.
And now Aries taking a knee. I think she's starting to feel the fatigue, has not sat herself at any point today. And now the trainer going to come out to see yet another Jumbo who is cramping, as the heat starting to get to the two who have not had any rest today.
And unsurprising there, as we see Coach Whiting was probably already expecting to sub Aries, give her a break, as Rachel Arcella will also be checking in for the Jumbos, presumably in the back line, giving the first swap for that back four.
Yeah, can't help but imagine that a midfield change would also likely be imminent for the two who have not come out in Kelly and Birch.
That would be pretty expected, especially I'd probably give it a minute or two because, you never want to sub the entire team, throw off the entire rhythm, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see that as well. We've seen Marin Jones really come in and do a lot in that midfield along with Aoife O'Reilly. So I won't be surprised if we see those two, or if we see some other new faces who haven't got the chance to play so far.
Elsie Aries walking off the pitch with a smile on her face. That'll be her night, but another dominant performance for the Jumbos 9. Another goal to her name, make it 20 for her career.
And we see now that is Hannah Batt checking into the game. She played in 9 games last season, managing to record 3 shots, hoping to get more on the board tonight.
Segru between the lines. Kelly picks her head up. Decides to play it back to Kushner. Baits her woman in and just gets rid of it.
One thing that's great about the Jumbo's midfield is the fluidity of it. We see Kelly now settling into that pivot role right now as Hack has gone forward a bit more, Hawk. And that fluidity, that switching, it's not a concrete switch. You see Hawk settles back into that pivot once Kelly goes up, but it makes it so much harder to deal with and much more of a challenge for the Lions.
Birch with a shot, taken down, and looks as if that's going to be a goal kick. Nearly both a goal and a penalty at the same time. In the end, nothing more than a goal kick. It'll be the end of the day for the senior captain, Caroline O'Neill, as well as her fellow captain, Nicholas Summers. Waverly Sumner, the goal scorer, will also take a seat as into the game, Griffin, Duncan, and Arcella. And on the other side, Emerson finally did make that goalie change with Haley Foreman checking in.
The first year from California, getting her first collegiate minutes, maybe seen long-term as a successor to Schwab. So it'll be interesting to see how she does in her first experience for the Lions.
Well, talk about getting thrown into the fire. This is not exactly an easy experience for your first collegiate minutes. Jumbo's caught out a little bit here. Picking up her head is Carlson. Great interception there by Segru as that ball was played behind her for an open channel, but she was able to flip her hips around, get behind it. All sorts of space now for Birch. Calling for it wide is Griffin. She's going to get it. And wins her team a corner.
And the ball control there from Kelly in the middle was just phenomenal. Every receive she got, she did a little ball roll, she did a little turn, and it made it so hard for the Lions to slow her down when she just had the ball glued to her feet so successfully like that.
Jumbo's trying to communicate who's going up here on the corner with all the new faces on the field. Kelly swings that one towards the back post, found a chest, bouncing around, Reese Burst makes it 4.
And an unfortunate welcome to the game for Foreman as a goal goes past her, but excellent finish there from Birch, capitalizing again on that chaos in a set piece. And the Jumbos, I was going to mention it before the kick, didn't have Summers on the pitch, who seemed to be their general target on the corners, but in that case, I think it was a chest in the box from the Jumbos that let it to bounce down and allowing Birch to get a great finish there.
Yeah, just a beautiful job there. Jumbo's crashing that back post. 2 different women on the back post beat their defender to the ball. And if you're going to win the race to the back post offensively, odds are you're going to get a look on net.
And as we've mentioned, this fixture has happened many times before this as the opening fixture for the Jumbos. And looking at the numbers, it has been a 19-2.
That's a giveaway there. The first of the day. Carlson on it. Arcella going to force her all the way back. That one whipped in. Free header and a goal against the run of play for the Lions. Flipped in at the near post. And a consolation prize for Emerson. Looks as if that one was put in by Presley King, I believe.
And that shows the pressure that Emerson chose to put on there. They sent their center half all the way up the field to finish that goal away. Great finish of her, getting on the end of the cross. And it shows the Jumbos can't get complacent here. I mean, it probably won't have much of a difference at this point, but there's still 20 minutes left. If they let their guards down, this Emerson team can hurt them and are very capable of putting the ball past Edwards into that goal.
It's definitely a message that they need to stay mentally locked in. And I think it's probably a forewarning for NESCAC play, because in NESCAC play, you don't have the advantage of playing a team where you might get away with a couple of mistakes. In the NESCAC, you put your head down for half a second, you're going to find yourself staring in the barrel of a shotgun down 3 goals. You got to stay locked in NESCAC play. The Jumbos we saw for the first 70 minutes of this game were absolutely locked in, but they need to find a way to refocus right now.
And the Jumbos are no stranger to conceding some late action, including 2 late game-tying goals from in NESCAC play last year against Hamilton and Colby, which was the difference between them getting the 5 and the 8 seed in the playoffs. So they really need to stay locked in the entire game. And as you mentioned, just putting your head down for a second or two can be so costly against teams of quality that we see in the NESCAC. And Emerson is no slouch either, able to put it away nicely.
Not only that, they also conceded in non-conference play a late tying goal to Husson in the 87th minute, as well as not conceding the tying goals, but conceding 2 goals in the 81st and 86th minutes in a 4-3 win against Conn College. Who, if my memory serves me right, they play not this weekend, but next Sunday on JumboCast.
Will definitely be an exciting game to watch. A lot of goals in that fixture, but Conn College did lose one of their star forwards. We'll see how they can recuperate this season.
Speaking of things that have changed, Kelly and Birch are done for the day. They have earned their keep, as into the game, replacing them will be Marin Jones and Aoife O'Reilly.
And I'm curious if that goal shifted Coach Whiting's plan for the substitution, because I wouldn't have been surprised if we saw a few new faces check in then, but instead.
Shot on near post, and what a save from the first-year Haley Foreman. A point-blank look for Marin Jones, and her fellow first-year says, I don't think so.
And that's a tough angle for Jones to really get across the goal, but she got great contact off the volley. Really well done to turn around like that, but Foreman able to keep it out there. But Jones also able to kind of slip in behind the Emerson defense unmarked, which is a little bit of an alarm bell for the defense, as they have switched things up a little bit, as well as King we see, who's drifted out to the right back position out from the center half.
Yeah, a lot of positional changes for the Lions. A lovely footwork there in the midfield by Hauk.
And Hauk has had a lot more space in this second period, getting a lot of gap in the field. The Jumbo's defense has drifted back a little bit, allowing for more space in the middle.
Nice little turn there from Kaw. Now taking time and space, Marissa Kren. Kaw gonna try and stand one up, looking for a run. Out to deal with it is Arcella, who has switched wide. Referee readjusting the position of the throw.
For those who are curious about the Tufts men's soccer team, who are taking on a different NUMAC opposition in MIT, their game started at 7 o'clock tonight. 34 minutes in, it is 0-0. Jumbo's leading, though, 7 shots to MIT's 3 and 4 on target.
Very reminiscent of that game last year, which, for those of you who remember, was our opener on Bello. Jumbo's actually went down in that game 1-0 within 90 seconds before scoring 4 unanswered in the second half.
Emerson very familiar with MIT as fellow NUMAC opposition, and MIT really ran the board of the NUMAC last year in women's soccer, defeating Emerson 3-0 and winning the NUMAC championship. The Jumbo's women's soccer team dispatched them 3-0 last year, and quite an impressive win against then number 8 ranked, now entering this season 11 ranked Engineers.
Yeah, that was the win that really started to spark a sense of hope in the Jumbo's team that had been struggling for a while. That win gave them a renewed sense of hope that, while it didn't kind of spark immediately, ended up being the spark to that NCAA tournament run.
And you do really wonder if that important win was in the committee's head when they handed Tufts that at-large bid.
Here are the Jumbos flying again. Griffin on the right side. Dancing with the ball at her feet. Gets to the byline. Whipped across. Chested by Jones in the center, but she couldn't quite control it. Loose touch there by Hawk.
Looked like there could have been an arm there in the box. Unclear to tell, but definitely did not seem like it had massive bearing on the play.
And great effort there from the Bows. Holzberg line to keep that one in, and then Aaron Duncan just running the extra mile to make these defenders work for every inch. Juliana Rosen warming up on the Jumbo sideline. Hannah Bat with a nice turn. Laid off for Duncan. Time and space for Arcella, who plays one down the line. A little too much juice on it.
It's interesting. Following the goal, the Jumbos have moved into more of a cautious approach, it seems. They're obviously putting a lot more pressure on, but they're not going quite as hard as they were prior to that. They're aware that Emerson does have the tools to beat them if they commit a little too hard, as they may have a chance to do right now.
Great over-the-top ball, looking for a runner. Lori on it again. Tried to play it for a teammate, couldn't find one. Lori gets it back, though, has a look, and you're not going to beat Gigi Edwards from there.
You do wonder for the Jumbos if they're missing that leadership from O'Neill at this point, as they've been struggling to deal with these more counterattacks. We saw that the play by the Lions there didn't quite work as they expected, but still a promising attack.
Jones with a beautiful open ball to Aaron Duncan. Stands one up, decides to hit it instead. Foreman alert to the change in her mind and saw it the whole way.
Duncan's turn to hit a shot from the top right corner of the box. So Curious
step
who will
there.
have the next chance to hit that. Maybe it'll be Bat. Maybe it'll be O'Reilly. Who knows?
Give me Juliana Rosen coming off the bench, as here is O'Reilly in the box, laid off, looking for Duncan. It's going to pop free and going to go out for, I believe, a Jumbo's throw. It will be.
The sun has fully set here in Medford, Massachusetts, as we have our first game of the year under the lights on Bello. It's great to be out here again.
O'Reilly wide now. Bat picks her head up. Beautiful cross. Miscommunication in the box as there were two waiting for it. And in the end, neither ended up with the ball. Segru fighting hard for that ball in the midfield. Hawk comes in, and it's going to be a free kick for the Lions.
Hawk comes in and sends two players flying. You like to see the work rate, but probably a little bit too much physicality there.
Yeah, and that's two miscommunications in the span of about 30 seconds. You saw the one on the offensive end between Jones and Griffin, and then that one where Segru wanted some help from Kushner but didn't quite get it. Free kick stood up. Controlled by O'Reilly back to goal. Trying to do a little too much with it, and eventually decides better. Sending it back to Segru, in cut nicely for Duncan, who flicks it on, looking for Bat. Bat climbs the ladder, nice first touch. Has Duncan inside of her. Just under hit that ball, and that'll allow the Lions to recover defensively. Header won nicely. O'Reilly with the turn. Rosen to check in at the next whistle.
Up a little.
Turn there from Emma Brady, but can't quite find her teammate. Duncan gonna take the throw, but before she does that, Juliana Rosen's gonna end her night.
See some signs of fatigue coming out here from the Lions as Brady sends the ball out of bounds. They have, as you mentioned, played 3 games in 5 days, and this is quite the tough one to end it off on.
And a really great sign to see Juliana Rosen back on the field. The last time we saw her here at Bello came off with a season-ending injury at the start of the season last year. So to see her back on the field is just another great sign for this team.
Always great to see a player come back from injury, and a really new opportunity for the Jumbos that we didn't get to see much of last year.
Hannah Bat with it. Rosen making a run down the outside. Instead, she goes inside to Griffin. Overlap looking for Jones, who is going to turn on the afterburners. And able to win that out for a Jumbo's throw.
Is Swisher out there at the left back position. She was quite the performer. This is her senior year and has played many games for the
Jones stands one up. Rosen trying to get ahead to it. It bounces wide to the far side. And going the other way are the Lions. Rosen trying to track back. Has a nice run here from Brady. A little bit behind the attempted run from Slater. Segru. Griffin comes back to collect, dumped off for Kushner. All sorts of space now for Hawk. Thought about going wide to Griffin. Instead, going to switch the field beautifully for Rosen. Rosen cuts back. Inside ball. Griffin trying to win the race. Can't quite outpace her defender. Arcella cuts out the 50-50, and the Jumbos will start again.
It's a great step across there from Holtzberline, really making sure that the Jumbos keep possession there, shutting down any potential counterattack the Lions might have had.
Jones with the instep cut. Tried a reverse ball. Didn't quite have the angle, so she'll dump it back off to Arcella. Holtzberline in some space. Bates a defender and goes right by her.
Holtzberline's been showing off some footwork in this game, pulling 2 or 3 great moves to beat her player. And she's got it back again.
Griffin calling for it on the near side. Hawk didn't see her. So Segru will take the ball in about 10 yards of space. Now Jones picks her head up. In between to Bat. Loose touch taken off her. Kushner on the second one, and they're going to bring that back for the foul on Bat.
And you wonder if the communication could have been better, because Bat, if she had turned to her right side, had plenty of space to turn into and possibly get a shot off, as her defender, that being Larking, was a little bit too far over. But the touch backward cut off and allowed Larking to get into position effectively and forced Bat to commit the foul.
Space here for Brady, who can pick her head up. Segru comes across. No problem dealing with that one. 50-50 ball. Griffin comes flying in. Second ball is going to pop all the way free here to Anna Swisher.
It's so hard for Griffin there when she's going at such pace that she is to keep a controlled touch. But she's hustling back now on the defense.
Yeah, just amazing hustle from Griffin all day. A little bit of a miscommunication allows Swisher to cut in between Griffin and Kushner. And then a ball that was ambitious at best, but did not have a target in mind. Holzberlein trying to shepherd that one out for a throw, and eventually will do so after about 20 yards. All sorts of space on the far side. Jumbo's trying to get it out. Segru will restart play. Just over 7 minutes to go here on Bello. Between the lines to Hawk. She's going to send one, looking for a run. Rosen on her horse. Can she get on the end of it? Not going to get there before Kren, who will send it the other way. That one forced wide. Holzberlein was waiting for it and won it cleanly.
King sends it up into the stands, able to shut down Holzberlein's run.
Yeah, King has been a real defensive force for this Lions squad. Without her, it's hard to imagine this one would have been really within 4 or 5.
And King now checking out after appearing to be in a little bit of discomfort off of that tackle. And coming into the game is Jillian Venezia, the senior defender, her first minutes of the night.
O'Reilly trying to go 1v2, can't quite win it. And eventually it's going to be a Emerson throw.
The Jumbos have put 26 shots on the Emerson goal tonight, which is pretty remarkable. 12 of those being on goal. To Emerson's credit, they have taken 7 shots, 6 of them being on goal.
This is soccer, not lacrosse, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure after I saw that stat.
And I do believe that they have counted some of the free kicks that Edwards caught early in the game as shots. So that may be inflating the Emerson number slightly, but they have had relatively accurate chances when they have taken their chances, but those chances have been far and few between compared to those Jumbo's chances.
Jumbo's with 12 shots on goal, just an impressive number for opening day. O'Reilly with an ambitious ball, looking for Griffin, cut out nicely at the back by Lauren Larking. Now it'll be taken by Jones. Switches on Slater, now O'Reilly with her head up, gonna have a hit, just wide. A screamer from the junior, just couldn't quite find the frame.
You gotta give your props there to first-year keeper Foreman, who did seem to have her side of the goal covered, although an impressive shot there from O'Reilly. As we see the rotation for the Jumbos in the midfield, as all 3 players have formed sort of that pivot role at different points. We saw Jones in the first half doing more of it, O'Reilly settling more into it now, and of course, Hawk has been doing some of it too.
Bat across the center. Rosen got a touch to it, but couldn't get around it.
A little unfortunate there for Rosen. If she got there half a second, quarter of a second sooner, she would have been able to get her foot fully across the ball. In this case, only able to just hit it as it rolled past her, unable to get around it and get it into the goal. But a great chance for the Jumbos with about 5 minutes left to go.
Yeah, the 11 on the field, not letting up for a second. Jones soars to win the 50-50, but lost track of the ball and couldn't win the second. Holzberline cuts it out, chested down by O'Reilly.
And the Jumbos midfield has really just controlled this game in a way that going into this game, I expected to see a lot more from Kaw and Slater in that midfield, but the Jumbos midfield has just been so dominant, particularly Nicholas. But even in this second portion of the game, since Nicholas has come out, we've seen O'Reilly, we've seen Jones, we've seen Hawk do very well in that center of the pitch to control the game and not allow Emerson much possession of the ball and much working through the middle like they would have liked to do.
Yeah, another great ball there from O'Reilly. Allowed Rosen to pressure, forced yet another Jumbos throw deep in the Lions' territory. As we dip under 3.5 to go.
And a player
Jordan Kushner imploring the bench to make some noise.
And a player who I really had my eye on coming to this game was...
Beautiful ball, touchdown. Jones just couldn't quite corral it. Wouldn't have counted. She was offside.
As I was saying, a player who I really had my eye on coming to this game was Madeline Kaw, who has put up quite the numbers in her illustrious Lions career, but she has yet to register a shot tonight, being forced by this Jumbos midfield to play very deep in the midfield, unable to really exert the offensive weapon that she can be.
And another midfield ball won by the Jumbos. This one won by Arcella, who wins the free kick. Taken back to Segru. Holzberline. Cuts onto her right foot. Ball inside. Jones lays it off. O'Reilly now. Into Bat. Had a teammate inside. Didn't quite see Jones. So it'll pop out to Holzberline with just over 2 to go. Swung right back in. Missed completely. Jones trying to get on the end of it. And in the end, off her line was Haley Foreman.
Larking will be very happy to see the ball go into Foreman's hands there. That's not a type of position you want to see. She did have a lot of pressure on her, which is why she may not have opted to take a touch and trying to just clear it first try, but that does leave you open to that possibility of that happening. She'll be glad to see Foreman able to clear that ball away.
Segru between the lines. Griffin gonna pop her head up. Down the line, a little bit under hit, and that's gonna go out of play.
Out of the park as well. Quite the clearance there from Larking, but Griffin's performance with the hustle has been so impressive throughout the night, winning balls that she really has no business winning. And another jinx here, but she has been very, very strong throughout the night.
They should put you as like the host for Wheel of Fortune. No one would win any money ever.
I feel like that would kind of take away from the fun of the game, though. You want to see people win a little bit of money.
Maybe. You and I watch Wheel of Fortune for different reasons. Final minute here on Bello. Rosen gets that one taken off of her. Arcella sends that one halfway to Somerville.
It's been good to see some of the sophomore defenders get more action for the Jumbos. We've seen Holzberline have the full game played and been very impressive. Arcella now getting some time because, as unfortunate it is, the Jumbos do know that O'Neal will be moving on and other defensive partners. And Kushner as well. So they need to have players getting the chance to play, getting a chance to really gain confidence. And that back line, it's hard to get players in because it's such a crucial spot, and if you make a mistake, it's really there's no one to cover for you. So getting the opportunity to get these players into action, getting opportunities to play is great to see.
Jordan Kushner's just going to dribble out the clock here. The Jumbos came into the day ranked number 4 in the country. They pulled a 4 out of their pocket, and step 1 on the road to Vegas is complete, a 4-1 win over the Emerson College Lions. Jake, your closing thoughts.
I feel like this is a great start to the season for the Jumbos. With the exception of a few stretches of play, they looked dominant. They have really exerted their might onto this game. Didn't give the Lions much of anything. And particularly in the midfield, I would just say the Jumbos were so impressive, making it really hard for Emerson to pass out from the back, hard to find any options. Nicholas, a standout player for the night for me, alongside, of course, Aries, Griffin, and a few other players.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll get some post-game thoughts from a Jumbo star from the night. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Bello Field here post-game with Emily Nicholas. Emily, just a dominant performance from the whole team. It seemed for a little bit like it was going to be a competitive game, and then that goal from Anna Griffin with 30 seconds left.
Right.
What was the feeling when that went in that really changed the game?
Honestly, Anna brought the energy. Anyone who came in, any subs, just kept the energy up, which was great for us. And then really, even at halftime, it's only 2-0. We had to keep working second half. And Wavy putting in the third one really helped us out, so it felt good.
Yeah, let's talk about your fellow sophomore, Waverly Sumner. That was probably the prettiest goal I've seen in a long time. But really, the story of the night was the sophomore class. We saw you, Waverly, Kate getting her first career start, Gigi and Annette. It seemed as if the sophomore class was everywhere tonight. What does that mean to you guys as you start your second campaign, already having achieved so much as a class in just your first year?
Honestly, my class, those girls, we worked all spring, pushing each other, keeping in touch over the summer, and we got after it. It's good to see that young players are getting out there and making a difference. So,
at the weekend now, you guys have the opponent you saw the last time you were here on Bello Field in Williams. What's the mentality going to Western Mass to start off the NESCAC season?
This game was a good start for us, but we all know that the next game is going to be a tough one. So, we want to get out there and show our NESCAC opponents we're ready.
Well, this was definitely a good step on showing them that. Congratulations on the win. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to my director, Zachary Miller, my cameraman, Will up top, David Latham across the field, and for my color commentator, Jake Flossie, I've been Riley Daniel. Thank you for watching JumboCast, and as always, stay home safely.